Hey guys, it's Jasmine. Welcome back to another video and to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do directional blur on After Effects. This is one of the effects or transitions I use a lot when making my edits, and it's always been one of my favorites. So let's just jump right into it. So the first thing I do when I'm editing is I just like to slow down my clips. So to do that, I just right click on it, you go to time, and then time stretch. So then what I do for the stretch factor right here, I do either between 200 or like 350, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to do 200. And then you click OK. And then you go to this frame blending tool right here. It's kind of like this film icon. And then you click this box twice. So that's going to make an arrow icon right here. And that's just going to make your clip run a little bit smoother for the effect and transitions you're going to do. So I always just try to do that, especially when I'm editing with clips. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to add motion tile. Now motion tile is really handy, especially when you're doing transitions like scale or position or even rotation. Like pretty much any transition you do in an edit, motion tile is going to be your best friend, because it gets rid of this black space here. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by this. So if you go to the effects and presets box right here and you type in motion tile, you're just going to drag it to your clip, and that's going to come up in the effect controls box. Now you're going to go to output width, type in 200, and then output height 200 as well, and then mirror edges. So as you can see, it got rid of that black space, and it also created like a couple more, it kind of created like duplicates of the clip you're going to do. It just mirrored it. So that really helps when you're doing any kind of transition or like scale, like I said, scale, position, or rotation. So now we're actually gonna start doing the directional blur effect, and you're just gonna go back to this effects and presets box and type in directional blur. Now, depending on if you have any plugins downloaded, you could get a couple different options here for directional blur, but just for this effect, I normally just stick with the standard directional blur that After Effects gives you when you download it. But you're just going to drag this over to your clip again, and then it's going to come back up in the effect controls box. And then so you have two options here. So you have direction and blur length. Direction is just obviously the direction of the blur, and then blur length is however long or however much you want the blur to be. So now I normally do either like 150 or 200 for this, but I think I'm going to try 200 today. You can always also go up to like 300. That sometimes might be a little too much, personally speaking, but I'm just going to stick with 200 right now. And then for directional, I normally just stick with the vertical blur, but you can also do a horizontal one, which you would just put at 90, and then that would be your horizontal blur. And you can kind of do like any direction, but other editors would just either use a vertical or horizontal blur, so I'm just going to stick with the vertical one because that's what I normally use. So then you go back down to blur length, and then just click this stopwatch icon, and then click U on your keyboard, and that's going to open up all your keyframes. Right now, obviously, we only have one. So you're just going to keep that at the 0 mark, and then move your time indicator down a little bit, and then go back up to blur length and just type in 0, and that's going to get rid of the blur, and this is where your blur is going to end. So it's just going to last right about here. Then you're going to drag and highlight these keyframes, right-click again, go to keyframe assistant, easy ease. Then from there, you're going to go to this graph editor. Click on that, and then your graph is going to show up right here. So now you can just follow what graph I do. Okay, and now this is all really dependent on your preference. It also depends on the speed of your edit. So you can always make it a little bit faster or even slower if you really want to. But I'm just going to keep it about here, I think, like that. And there you go. So that's the basic directional blur. Okay, and then the only other thing I would really add to this would be exposure, because that just makes your clip a little bit brighter and it adds a little bit more effect and spice to the directional blur. So to do that, I just go to effects and presets, type in exposure, and then you drag that to your clip again, and then just click the stopwatch again, and then click U on your keyboard to open your keyframes. This can be kind of the same thing we did with the directional blur, but you're just going to drag this one a little bit past where the directional blur ends. I normally keep it about there. And then I either do between just 1 or 110 for this exposure. I think I'm gonna do 110 today. And then you're just gonna highlight the keyframes again and then easy ease them. So right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease, go to your graph editor. So then this graph is a little bit different from the directional blur one. So you're just gonna take this top node right here and then just drag it down a little bit like that. And then there you go. That's your exposure and your directional blur put together. And there you go. Now you know how to do directional blur on After Effects. I really hope this tutorial helped, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. And if you guys have any requests for any other tutorials or just want to know anything at all or any questions, make sure to leave that down in the comment section. Or you can DM me on TikTok and I'll leave that down in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day and I'll catch you in the next one.